Can you imagine tomorrow morning when you wake up, you heard the news that the government just declared that only men can vote on healthcare budgets, education policies, and economic strategies. But women are still required to pay tax, obey the law, and contribute to society. But they are not allowed to decide on how public money is spent. Sounds unfair, doesn't it? People will call it discrimination. Yet, in some ways, this reflects the reality that we face today. Malaysia has about 33 million citizens and around half of them are women. However, women occupy only a small percentage of seats in parliament. This means that many decisions affecting all Malaysians are made without equal representation from half of its population. Good morning everyone, my name is NURLISA AISYAH and I would like to talk about the topic of why Malaysia needs more women in politics to strengthen democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, this topic is relevant to every single one of us, whether you are male or female. Some of you may be thinking, politics doesn't affect me, so why do I care? But through politics, important matters such as education funding, healthcare service, and even employment opportunities are decided. When I started researching about this topic, I was surprised to learn that out of 222 seats in the Dewan Rakyat, only 33 are occupied by women. That means women hold only around 15% of parliamentary seats in Malaysia. This made me wonder, how can a country truly represent its people when half of its population has such a limited voice in decision making? So today, I would like to convince you that Malaysia needs more women in politics because excluding women from the parliament creates negative consequences for both women and the nation. So, I would like to discuss about three main points. First, the problem of women underrepresentation in politics. Second, the solution to increase women's participation. And lastly, the benefit that more women in politics can bring to Malaysia. First, before we look at the solution, it is important to understand the problem. According to the data from the Inter-Parliament Union in 2023, Malaysia ranks 141st out of 187 countries for women representation in parliament. With less than 15% representation, Malaysia falls behind several neighboring countries such as Indonesia, Vietnam, and Laos. This statistic is more than just a number. It represents a lack of female voices in national decision making. First, let's think about issues such as childcare, domestic violence, and workplace equality. These are not just women's issues. When there are fewer women in parliament, these concerns may not receive the urgency and attention they deserve. Women bring valuable experience and perspective that can help policymakers understand this challenge more effectively. Another problem is that Malaysia is wasting talents. Women today are doctors, lawyers, lecturers, and many more. They are already contributing significantly to society. So, why are so few involved in politics? According to CIMS et al. 2026, diverse teams often make better decisions because they bring different viewpoints to the table. The same principle applies to government and policy making. Now that we understand the problem, let us look at how we can create change. To increase women's participation in politics, we must first remove the barriers that prevent them from entering political leadership. The first solution is to change our mindsets about women leaders. Although society has progressed significantly, some people still believe that leadership is mainly a man's responsibility. Women in politics often face criticism that men do not. For example, a recent study in 2026 conducted by Dr. Muhammad Rakib found that women politicians frequently receive media attention focused on their appearance, family life, or personality rather than their qualification. Imagine a male politician and a female politician delivering exactly the same speech. The male may be described as confident and strong, where the woman may be labeled as emotional or aggressive. These stereotypes discourage many capable women from pursuing leadership positions. The second solution is education and leadership development. According to Rehalidin Ahmad et al. 2023, he highlighted that many women still face barriers such as limited access to resources, professional networks, and leadership opportunities. This is why leadership training should begin early. Schools and universities can encourage young women to participate in debates, public speaking competition, and leadership programs. These activities help build confidence, communication skills, and decision-making abilities. When girls grow up believing that leadership is also their responsibility, they become more willing to step forward and contribute to society. Now that we have discussed the solution, let us move to the benefit of having more women in politics. One of the biggest benefits is better decision-making for the nation. A 2024 study by CIS found that countries with higher numbers of women in parliament often invest more in social welfare programs and inclusive policies. This benefits not only for women but also children, families, senior citizens, and other communities. Another benefit is stronger protection of rights and greater equality. Female politicians often advocate for policies related to workplace equality, family welfare, and protection from violence. When women participate in leadership, issues affecting women and families become more visible and more likely to receive attention. Last but not least, the most important benefit is a stronger democracy. When more women participate in politics, parliaments become more representative and more capable of understanding the needs of all these people. Ladies and gentlemen, while having more women in politics is still a new idea for some people, I hope you all agree with me when I say keeping women out of politics may feel normal today, but it doesn't make our country better. When we open doors for women leaders, we don't just help women, but we make Malaysia kinder, smarter, and stronger for everyone. So, from now on, stop saying politics is for men and start saying politics is for the people who can lead. Good leadership is not determined by gender. It is determined by integrity, ability, and commitments. When we want to evaluate future leaders, focus on their ideas and qualification rather than whether they are male or female. That's all from me. Thank you.